So I want to take us to the nation's capital, if we can, and check in with our chief Washington correspondent, Peter Cook. He's got more on just what might be happening there on Capitol Hill. Peter.
Well, I've got some Republican reaction to the jobs report out today. I'm joined by New Jersey Republican Scott Garrett. He's vice chairman of the Budget Committee, key player in all these budget and economic talks. First of all, thank you for the time. Appreciate you joining us. We heard from the White House earlier, this 54,000 jobs added last month, a bump in the road. Certainly not good news, but they say the trend is still favorable. What's your take?
Well, the trend is favorable, but it's certainly not what people expected. Analysts were expecting a number about 3 times that. So it's more than a bump in the road. It's a large ditch that we've come in the road where things are slowing down from where we want it to be. And this is really no surprise to us because we have not seen coming out of the White House the changes that we need to support a growing job trend in this country.
And the recommendation we've heard, and we heard it again today from Speaker Boehner, is, listen, one of the answers here are spending cuts. We need to have the government spending less. You know the economic argument here. There are those who would suggest too much austerity at a time of economic struggle will do more harm than good. How do you reconcile that?
So those are the Keynesian economists out there who are suggesting that. Now, what we need from this White House is a clear plan on a couple things, on certainty, on budget cuts, on certainty on the budget going forward, and, of course, doing something with health care, getting rid of Obamacare, doing something with entitlements. We're getting none of that from this White House. And as you know very quickly, we were at the White House, was it day before yesterday? Yesterday? And we asked the president, where's your plan on any one of those? No answer.
Do you think we're headed for a double dip?
I've talked about that for several years now, and all the time that Brennan said, no, this is not going to happen. I think it's almost in the cards, but then I'm not an economist, so I can't predict these things.
Well, I know Tobias Levkovich has a question for you. Tobias, fire away.
Sure, Congressman Garrett. I mean, one of the big issues, you're sitting in kind of the politics bubble of Washington, and I've asked Congressman Ryan this question, I've asked Eric Cantor this question, I haven't gotten a great answer to it. There's very little debate that something has to be done on spending, but it is not a politically popular issue, as we saw in upstate New York recently. So how does the party kind of convince the president and all the political forces that are bearing on us to do the right thing, if you want to call it that, yet still generate the kind of popular support amongst the American people who don't really understand this kind of technical issue?
I guess the answer, first of all, is education. But what the troubling part of your question is that you said, how do we get the president to recognize this? And that is troubling, that the president of the United States still does not seem to grasp the dilemma that the United States is in as far as our economic situation, as far as our spending problems. We just met with him, as I said, at the White House. He's not presenting any real plan as to how do we address our debt issue that's coming up in the next several months. So our first challenge, you're right, is to educate the president about how the economy works and what we need to do on spending. And the next one, of course, is educate the public on this as well. Because I'll just close on this. A lot of times we go home and we say we want to rein in spending, and the public says, sure, get rid of foreign aid, get rid of the farm subsidies, and get rid of this. As you well know, that's a drop in the bucket. We have to go much further than that. We have to get into the entitlements. We have to get into the rest of discretionary. But it's a challenge. You are right politically to get the public to come around those issues.
Congressman Garrett, let me pick up on that. What about the market risks right now? To some extent, this jobs report today, as Republicans have suggested, bolsters perhaps your arguments on economic issues, but at the same time, it heightens the market sensitivities to what's going on here in Washington. In fact, has the pressure turned up on you and Democrats here to reach a deal, perhaps by the end of June?
So we're trying to put pressure on the White House to reach a deal sooner around then, because we want it to happen now and not in August when we actually hit the deadline. But we just need the White House to engage. We need the vice president to be here, not off course in Europe or what place. We need to see them have a detailed plan. We told them how we want to get there, but they're silent on the issue. And that's the troubling part of it.
All right, Congressman Garrett, thank you very much for the time.